The whole idea is to make more money and have more fun, and let's walk through how we do it. So my name's Rob Murray. I'm a co-founder of this company called Intrigue. You'll see our booth out here. We also have Marielle and Vanessa. They're in the crowd somewhere. There's Vanessa and there's Marielle. We're a group of 35 plus folks. We started in 2007. We've been doing this for better part of 17 years. What we're going to share with you today is stuff that is tried, tested, and true. This is field tested stuff. This isn't something that is academic. It's not something that we preach and don't practice. We do all these things ourselves, and we share it and do it with all of our clients. Right now, we have something like 60, 65 landscape customers, about 120 clients in our client roster, and everything that we're doing is battle tested. Our purpose as an organization is empowering leaders to strengthen communities. Our whole goal is to do that today. How can we help you as leaders, as entrepreneurs, the crazy people who put their houses on the line, to grow their businesses and hire people from our communities and support the soccer teams and local hospitals? Entrepreneurs, you're all nuts. We can all just agree, right? You're crazy. The only people willing to work 80 hours to avoid working 40. The whole idea is, how can we make it so that you can be stronger? Because if you build stronger companies, you hire more people, you build stronger communities. That's what we're here to do. And like I said, our vision is to create the gold standard in marketing that you all can trust to grow your business. And that's why I want to hold people accountable to a higher standard. We're going to give you the tools to do that today. Anybody know this guy, Michael Gerber? Anybody here read E-Myth? There's a landscape version of it. If you haven't, that's the first to do if you're looking for actionable nuggets and takeaways. Someone told me, some crazy guy, his name was Bill. He was telling me, you know what I love when people tell you what to do? You should do this. You didn't ask. I love that. Anyway, he did that. Bill Luffy, crazy guy. We were in some cafe. He's like, you need to read the E-Myth. You should do this, and this is why. And I was like, cool, thanks, Bill, you're crazy. Didn't listen to him. But I was in a bookstore, this is 17 years ago, about to try to get a meeting with the bookstore owner, because we were a local marketing company at the time. We weren't niched in landscaping like we are today. And I thought maybe it would be a gesture of reciprocity if I were to buy a book before I met with this gentleman. And so I'm in the business book section, and I see E-Myth, revisited. And so I grab it, I buy it. It's like, whatever, 20 bucks. Leave it on the shelf at my house after meeting this person. We end up becoming customer, like client relationship, whatever, great stuff. 3-4 months later, maybe I should read this book. And in about 3 days, I realized I know nothing. And it started a journey of learning and a realization that there's been a lot of really smart people that have done this before us. And if we can take from them, we might be able to do it faster, better, stronger. He's got a really cool quote. If the business depends on you, it's not a business, it's a job. It's the worst job in the world because you work for a lunatic. That's you. Here's some cool resources. Again, like I said, our booth is just on the left here. If you want us to send the slides, just drop a business card off at the booth, or just come say what's up. We'll send them to you. When it comes to marketing and sales, some of my favorites are on the screen. To pick out a few, I would say Seth Godin from Marketing Perspective. If you actually Google Seth, he's the #1 rank in Google outside of Wikipedia. And I think the Wikipedia article is about him. Pretty bad guy. Anybody here heard of Seth Godin before? He's got a really cool blog. He emails once a day a paragraph on how to think about marketing a little bit differently from a customer perspective. And on the sales side, they're all good, but I would say you can't teach a kid to ride a bike in a seminar. Anybody here heard of Sandler sales training? Anybody here professionally sales trained? So like Bruce Lee, right? Absorb what's useful, discard what's useless, and add what's uniquely yours, right? I don't need to tell you the market's softer than it was a couple years ago. I don't need to be a fear monger. Anyway, the last time the market shrank the way it did in the last 12 to 18 months, it was 2008 and 9. Anybody running a business in 2008? It was tough. Anyway, we're seeing similar economic conditions. It's not the same. And I believe firmly, regardless of the economy, which is a weird thing because it's just an aggregate of our behaviors. Like, the economy is not a third party. Anyway, I think we can still control our own destiny, but it was tough. And so with a shrinking marketplace, we had our wind at our backs for a couple of years. 2021, 22 were epic, right, for everybody. 23 still pretty good, 24 softening. Let's see what happens in 2025. But the best thing we can do is sharpen our sword. So we see higher interest rates, uncertain economy. When was the last time it was certain? I don't know, but it's still uncertain. 2.5 years of historic demand was released, right? 21, 22. Like, all these people that had plans kind of like accelerated those plans. And then we had a lot of low-price companies come in. We chuck in a truck, people that come in, don't know what they're doing, offer low-price bids, just kind of make it a race to zero. Anyway, it creates a smaller marketplace. It's more competitive. So what can we do? Well, we can get smart. Statistics say 4 out of 5 of you will do nothing with what I say today. 1 in 5 will do something, and I can tell you, and I promise you, that if the one person's you'll kick everybody else's butt. My question is just which one do you want to be? So today we're going to talk about the 3 musts of marketing and sales. We're going to talk about a world-class website and what it means to have one and what it can do for you and why you need to look at it very seriously. The second one is how you create qualified lead generation. So like how do you get inquiries from people you don't know or from people that don't know people you know, so not word of mouth, that are quotable leads. So qualified for us is quotable. It means they've got the money to do the service that you do. And the last one, arguably the most important, is a professional sales process. And what does that look like and how can you start doing one? The first one, I'm actually gonna intertwine strategy into what a website should be about. Because a website really is your storefront. I mean, does anybody here have a showroom? Even showrooms, more people go to your websites than your showrooms. But if you have a showroom, you have a legitimate storefront, website being a digital one. According to Forbes, 67% of people won't even talk to you if your website isn't designed well, meaning that they can find what they're looking for quickly and it doesn't look like something from 1999. The thing is, when 10 out of 10 customers come to us, or prospects before their customers come to us, there's a unique kind of challenge that we have to overcome immediately. And that's, we always talk about ourselves. So if you were to look at your website right now, odds are, and maybe it's not you, but odds are, it's all about you. It's about your education, your experience, your team, the work that you do, and how great you are. The issue is no one cares. And I don't mean to be crass, but just like me sitting on this stage, the only way I'm gonna keep your attention is if you think I can do one of 2 things: help you accomplish a goal or help you solve a problem. We have to realize this when it comes to business, and it starts with our website because that's where everybody comes. We gotta figure out who our customer is, what the problems they have, what problems do they have, and how do we help solve them. We have to stop talking about us. Now, there is a spot to talk about us, and we'll get there. So, it becomes difficult though if you do a lot of things for a lot of different people, because if you do a lot of things for a lot of different people, it's difficult to figure out who to talk about or what problems to speak about. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this idea around niching or niching, depending on how you say the word. But there's this idea that riches are in the niches, right? And there's a couple of different ways to niche a business. And when you're a bit smaller, say under $250,000, under $500,000, a heartbeat and a check is usually the niche, right? It's like someone's willing to pay for the services, so I'm gonna do it. You get to $1 million, you start to understand what you're really good at. You get to 2 million, you know what you're really good at. You get to 5 million, you're really good at it and you're doing it a lot. So this one is thinking about what are the jobs that you love doing versus the jobs you hate doing. And by what I mean by that is, what are the jobs that you do that you're really good at, you're fast, your team does, they do it really well, and you're profitable. It's the best, just like this gift. And we can then start to niche around the type of project you do is one example. The other one is to niche around a customer type. And so this is a wonderful lady named Kathy. She has really high expectations, and I gotta give her a lot of credit. She pushed us to be better. But one of the things with her business, and I'll show you quick in a second, she niches around a customer type and the property type. So I would consider her in the foo-foo market. Anybody in that market? With someone like a branch falls on the lawn, they call you to come pick up the branch. That ever happen? Yeah, anyway. That's the kind of people she's working with. No judgment, that's just what happens. And so there's a bunch of pieces that we need to understand when it comes to niching around a customer type. If you think about it right now, a great customer. So we have A, B, and C customers, right? Awesome clients, A clients. B clients can become A clients. They're just maybe not there yet, they're not spending enough, but they're close. And then C clients are complainers and they suck the life energy out of you and your business every day. We all have them, right? People that love our stuff, if we could clone them 1,000 times, our business would scale, we'd make a lot of money, they'd be really happy, they'd refer us a lot of people, they pay their bills on time, they smile when they see you. That's the A client profile or niching around a customer that we're looking at. Now the thing is, Rob, Melanie, Dave, Joanne, whoever it might be, typically have certain problems that are a little bit unique to their customer type. Problems could be things like their backyard, they moved into a new place or they've been in a new place and their backyard is boring. It's really flat. So we gotta understand what problems did that customer have? Melanie, what kind of problems does she deal with on a regular basis? Maybe she doesn't have any time, she's busy as. Young kids, maybe a busy career, but what are the problems that a customer has? Because if we understand the problems that they have and we start to speak about them, other people like them will understand what we're talking about. And I'm gonna go into more detail why that's important. The other thing we want to consider when looking at an A client profile is catalysts for purchase. People typically go through a life event to buy stuff. Now, if it's, who's here is in maintenance only, lawn care maintenance and property maintenance only? Who here is construction, design, build? All right, well, let's talk about that. So design build, we find there's typically very common catalysts for people to do a landscape construction project. One would be they just moved. Two, their kids are growing up, they're no longer infants, and they want to get them outside. Maybe they want to get to a spot where they're hosting more, they're making more money and they want to bring their friends and family over. Maybe they've had kids leave the house and now they want to have a sanctuary in their backyard. These are life catalysts. And if we understand the Melanies, the Daves, and the Joes of our world that we love working with, what are the problems that they have and what are the catalysts that got them into market? Another one we see a lot is they've renovated the house, interior. It's been a couple of years and they're just like, man, this backyard does not match the inside of our house. So there's another catalyst that we can consider when talking to our customers. So we understand the problems, we understand the catalysts. Then you got demographics. You know, what address, what neighborhood are they in, how old are they, how many kids do they have, what's their income, where do they work, that type of thing. So we start to put this profile together, we start to understand the customer we want to go after, we start to understand the problems they have and the catalysts, the life moments or situations they go through that make them want to buy, and now we can start to speak to them. So this is Kathy's website before working with us, and you can see it looks weird and bad and whatever. I don't have to tell you that much. But it's like lawn, care and gardens, landscape construction. If you went through this whole website, you would see that it's just like, you know, average homes that didn't look like, you know, the foo-foo market she was going after. And then we changed it and put it into this. If you were to go to the website now, this is what you'd see. Is this like life-changing, epic, award-winning design of a website? No. Does it portray the type of property that she works on? Yes. Leave a lasting impression, enhance your property with professional landscaping service and maintenance. Does it alienate someone on a budget? A little bit, you know, because one of the things we want to do when we're going after the A client, we want to attract the people we want to work with, and we want the other people we don't want to work with to never, ever call us. Your time's worth a lot. If anything, it's the most precious resource. Kathy, when we first started working with her, called me at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was lovely. And she said, you're gonna put me 6 feet under with all these leads that are garbage. I've got so many leads coming through. This is brutal. And I was like, well, I mean, you had none, so now you've got some. Like, that's better. But she made a really good point. This is like 7 years ago, and we realized really quickly, and we're not gonna go into detail, but there's some things that you can do, and this is just a quick side note, about forms on your website. Y'all have forms on your website, people can request a quote, submission, whatever. The less fields required to submit a form, the more you get of them. The more fields required, the less you get and the more qualified they become. This site is greenthumb.ca. We are from Canada. Check it out. If you go to their request a quote form, it'll ask you somewhere between 20 and 30 questions. And it's conditional because it says if you want residential and it's gonna ask you where you are, if you're in the wrong area, it'll say, sorry, we don't service that area. It'll be like, have you worked with a maintenance company before? Why are you talking to us? It's grilling these people. But the people that get through, they're ready to buy. In the winter, we make it so that there's less fields. And I'm not sure, do they still have it? Are you looking right now? Yeah, okay. And they take down the fields amount. So when it's busy season, more questions. Not busy season, less questions. Take a look at your website quick, pull your phones, it's all good, pull your phone. And you can just go to your website and you can just ask yourself a quick question. Is it about me or is it about my customer? And if it's not about your customer, then that's something we can start working on. The other thing you wanna look at real quick, is it really blatantly obvious what somebody should do when they land on your homepage? And by that I mean get a quote, book a consultation, get pricing. We have a saying, people hate to be told what to do except for on websites. I don't know what happens to the human brain, but you need to be extremely explicit with the behavior you want someone to take on your website. And get a quote, get pricing is typically the call to action we recommend. If you're going after higher end, book a consultation can work really well, but those three are the top three. So if we have no niche, we don't know who we're talking to, the types of jobs we want to go after, we don't know the customer we want to go after, we have no clarity. Then we end up in a position where we are full service design, build, construction, and maintenance company. Maybe in your case, you're a landscape design build company. For the sake of this example, let's just assume for a moment there are two full service landscaping companies. Both of them have 53 Google reviews with a 4.9 star rating. From a customer's perspective, what's the difference between the two? Nothing. So when they get quotes from the two of them, what do they look at? Price. We don't want to be competing on price, so we have to differentiate ourselves. And we got to make sure we're positioned in a way where we're the choice, not a choice. So how do we do that? Well, one of the other ways we can look at is the type of properties that you work on. Now, this is an example of commercial as well as residential. Some people are really good at big spaces. Some people are really good, so food production. Anybody here do commercial at all? Commercial? We got a customer in downtown Seattle. They specialize in downtown urban spaces, in downtown Seattle urban spaces, because it's tight space. Like, they have the equipment to get back there and make outdoor living like a real thing in a really, really dense urban environment. Not everybody's got the tools, skill set, or experience to do that. Some people look at estate properties. Some people look at second homes or cottages, lakefront. You know, they know how to deal with water and waterfront properties better. So if we know our niche, we know our customer. We have another thing here that says, people hate to be sold, and people love to buy. You ever walk into a department store? Maybe you're gonna go buy a computer, maybe a pair of jeans, a pair of shoes. You know what you're looking for? Salesperson comes up, says, can I help you? And you say, just looking. We don't wanna be sold stuff. Like the person that comes, you're looking to buy a TV, someone comes up to you, you want some help? Please don't tell me a warranty. Go away. But we love to buy stuff. So the question becomes, well, how do we create an environment of purchase in our sales process versus an environment where someone feels like they're being sold to? And the way we do that is first understanding people. And people trust people that understand them. You ever traveled anywhere and met somebody from your hometown? Instant credibility and trust. Maybe a little bit, but it's instant. Just because you grew up where I grew up. There's no reason to have trust. But because you grew up where I grew up, I trust you a little bit. People trust people like them. You trust me if I'm like you. Now, if people like you, they'll listen. If they trust you, they'll buy. So how do we get people to trust? We say, trust me. What does that elicit emotionally? Sleazebag, liar, cannot trust you, right? If I say that, I'm a used car salesman. So I can't tell you to trust me. I have to show you. I have to demonstrate it. Well, how do I demonstrate it? Like I said before, if I know you and your problems and the reasons and the catalysts of your life that make you purchase, and I explain to you them better to you than you know yourself, that means I'm like you, I get you. Google reviews definitively help. Who here has over 100 Google reviews? You got one company, 188, you got one company, 17. Who are you talking to first? Google reviews demonstrate trust. If there's one tip out of today you want to take away as a nugget, go get Google reviews. This company, Gelderman Landscape Services, they said, if you get your name in a Google review, we'll give you a $20 gift card to Amazon. And so when their crew got together once a month, eventually there was a stack of Amazon gift cards. You've given out $20, $20, $20, $20, $20, because their Google reviews, and you can see, this was 221 at the time of making this presentation. I don't know where they're at right now, but they're more. Oh, guidance. Let me walk through this process with you. Let me ask you questions, make you think about your project differently than you've ever thought about it before. I'm an expert in this. Questions like, well, what's the purpose of the project? Friends and family, is it gonna be used all the time? Do you leave in the winter? What's the floodplains look like? You know this stuff better than I do. But there's a series of questions that I can ask you to demonstrate my expertise without telling you I'm an expert, without coming with a preset presentation to tell you about my team's experience, the training we've had, and the education we've done. I don't need to tell you that because no one cares, but I can ask you the questions to get you to think about it. This is one that I think is really important for everybody. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. We need to listen to people, 2 ears, 1 mouth, use accordingly. Professional salespeople collect information, they don't give information. And so we need to do a better job typically, and I'm not saying this is you, it's just every salesperson I've ever encountered. Not you, but everybody else. We have a tendency to talk too much and tell people what they need instead of listen and summarize. Active listening. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. We have to demonstrate that you can trust me without saying it. All this wrapped up is you become the choice, not a choice. If you look at this website, it's scotteckley.com. Transform your urban outdoor space with award-winning landscape design in Seattle. The next website competitor, full service landscape construction company. If you live in downtown Seattle, who you call first? This guy. The next must of marketing, we said lead generation. Marketing is meant to create a business outcome. It is not about design and impressions, hits, visits, or traffic. It's about leads, sales, especially for you guys. Most people don't have a tangible goal when it comes to marketing. Here's some examples of what goals should look like. And if you're working on it yourself, or you have a person in-house on your team, or you're gonna hire a marketing partner, we wanna orient the conversation around this type of conversation. So the first one, what's the number of desired qualified leads in a year? The last must is gonna be all about the sales process and you're optimizing your revenue model. We need to understand our numbers. Everything in SynkedUP is about knowing your numbers. When it comes to sales and marketing, it's the same thing. It's the same fundamental process. We have to measure what we wanna see happen and then make it better. If we understand how many qualified leads we need, because we understand our conversion rate to project and our average sale, then we can really get a sense of how many leads we actually need to get to. So what's the number of desired qualified leads we need in a year to hit our revenue target? What's the cost per qualified lead? Let's just say you have a budget of $40,000 for marketing and you want a cost per qualified lead of, let's just say $400. Well, that means you're gonna get 100 leads. You have no idea if it costs you $400 to get a lead this year, but if you start thinking about it this way, you'll be able to understand if you got close, and you'll look at it next year and say, how can we make it better? Or, and this one's probably the most important for you, is customer acquisition cost, because it takes into account all the things you're doing to acquire a new customer. If your marketing goals aren't one of those three, or something really similar, there's a good chance your money is going into someone else's pocket for no reason. Some people will come to us, they say, actually, the two we get the most. I want social media. You guys help me with social media? Is that what you really want? Does anybody here actually want social media? No, we want customers. The other one we get is brand awareness. We really want to make our brand more visible in the community. Let's just pretend for a moment that we do that and you get no customers. Do you keep paying us? The answer, I can tell you from experience, is no. Social media posting, best social media post in the world. No customers, will you keep paying us? No. So what we need to do is start to gear our thinking around how do we go about getting good customers. Goals need to be measured. Anybody here use Google Analytics? It's pretty complex, even for advanced folks. I know a lot of people have it, very few people use it, and very few people do anything with it. We've got form submissions and phone calls. These are the things for us that matter most because that's somebody inquiring. But there's a tool that's even better. We have a sales and lead tracking system. We've even developed a landscape CRM strictly for sales and marketing that will actually be like the front end before it goes into a thing like SynkedUP. But this starts to show you very clearly where all your leads are coming from. So in this case, during this time period, there's 21 leads. The sales quote value, $237,000 for sales value, $117,000. Why is that important? Well, we need to understand where they're coming from, and I know it's tough to see this, but this right here says cost per click. CPC, you can see here it says quotable, yes, what's the quote value, what's the sales value. This type of tool will help you understand if your marketing is actually working or not. And you can see it even gets more in depth. It tells you, okay, well this one came from a landscape design ad and it turned into a phone call. If we're not using a tool, and we give this away for free for 90 days, it's game changing because the sales and marketing relationship is usually like this. Marketing's like, hey, we got you all these leads, you didn't close them, sales. And sales is like, hey, marketing, these are no good. And they're like, well, yeah, they are. You got to close your deals. And there's this fight. This gets rid of that altogether. So Google Ads and search for marketing is the #1 place to start with marketing. If you want to post stuff on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, if you want, whatever, that's cool. And it's actually really helpful, especially when you're looking at recruiting efforts. And actually, we found that customers will look at your social media profiles after they've been to your website to just make sure you're legit, right? So if you have a social media profile, you haven't posted for 8 months, a year and a half, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like you're there anymore. And it increases risk, decreases trust. So having posts on these platforms has value. I'm not trying to say it doesn't. But Google search is where your customers are. Marketing 101, be where your customers are, right? Like, to point out the obvious, we're a marketing company for landscapers. I happen to be where you are, right? And so that's literally marketing 101. And so when we look at trying to find customers, we want to start with search. And search engine optimization, or SEO, takes a bit of time. It doesn't necessarily bear fruit in 3-4 months. Usually, if you look at it more like a 3-year strategy, you can start to beat up a lot of people, but it doesn't happen overnight. Google Ads pointed to a really good website, like we were showing you before, can bear fruit in 90 days, 120 days, 180 days for sure, 12 months for sure. And I'm gonna show you what keywords you wanna go after, both from an organic perspective and from a paid perspective. But if you were to look at marketing as a bullseye, the center is your website, and the next ring out is search, because it's people actively looking for the service that you provide, and not your name. We're talking about people looking for landscape contractor, people looking for retaining wall company, someone build a retaining wall. These terms are people looking for a service, and they don't know who to go to. Because if they knew who to go to, they'd Google the name. They Google your name, your competitor's name, they'd find them, word of mouth, right? But this tool is what makes us understand if it's working and if you're making money. I'm gonna speak about the sales process. All right, so who here has been formally trained on how to do the work that you do? Field work, like field training, education. Who's been formally trained in sales? Last time I checked, if we don't make a sale, there's no work to do. There's no money to count. There's no people to hire. There's nothing. The sale is what makes the company go. Yet, we don't do professional sales training. That blows my mind. And so I would just say, if there's a nugget for you, I would check out Sandler Sales Training. They have coaches all around the US. It's amazing. Changed my life and many of the people that work with us. It's all about really good communication and understanding that sales is actually not between you and the prospects, it's between you and your parents, which is a deeper conversation for another day, but we're gonna highlight some of it in a minute. So if we go surface level, one of the things we wanna talk about with sales is how do you make it easy to buy from you, okay? This is really important. Who's the best in the world at making it easy to buy something? Anybody? Amazon. Why? Swipe at your house in an hour. It's crazy. I had twins when they were infants. I was literally in my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. I bought a Batman comforter for my brother for Christmas. One hand holding 2 babies. It doesn't get easier than that. They figured out how to take the friction out of the buying process. So the question is to you all, how easy is it to buy from you? We can do a quick little sales audit. When someone phones you, does someone pick up the phone? When they pick up the phone, do you know it's the business, or is it, hey, Dave here. Oh, is this landscaping XYZ? Yeah. Okay, cool. Is it a polite and positive and warm greeting? If no one picks up, is there a voicemail? Did they get called back? Are there open-ended questions? Do they collect customer information immediately in case the call drops or they want to get a hold of somebody? Or do they say something like, if you could just go to our website and fill out our form and send some pictures through that form on our website, that we can get back to you. Now this seems like kind of a weird thing to do, but it happens all the time. The number one problem we have with our clients is they don't pick up the phone. Like, if you just pick up the phone, you'll get more business. But a lot of times, maybe you're working, maybe you're doing an estimate with somebody at their property, and it's not easy. So we can look at other ways to maybe get an office person doing it. You can even outsource at least an initial phone call. They can grab someone's information, take a message for you. But what's it like when someone phones you? Very rarely, if ever, do we find people do what we call secret shopping. You're familiar with this term, secret shopping? You get someone to call into your business and they grade how well you've done. It is a really great exercise. If anything, it's insightful, because if someone's doing something maybe not the way you're hoping, you can give them a coaching opportunity. You don't have to kill anybody for not doing a good job. If anything, it's just highlighting what we haven't done properly as leaders, which is train people, get people on the same page, super important. Anybody here ever seen Kitchen Nightmares? It's the one where there's these restaurants, they're about to fail, and they ask Gordon Ramsay to come in and fix them. Well, it turns out it's never the restaurant, it's always the owners. And they have to fix the people first. But the first thing he does is he inspects the fridge, and there's always mold everywhere. It's disgusting. Things are rotting. And so we have to inspect our fridge every once in a while. I would recommend secret shopping once a year. The other one is your form submissions. So what can we do? Like when someone goes to your website, are you asking for budget? Is it easy? Do they know what's gonna happen? Is it clear next steps? In terms of they get an email, hey, we received your form submission, someone will come back to you or get back to you in the next 24 hours. Do you have a sales process lined up so you can see where your leads are at? So you can see what stage they're in, qualification, consultation, appointment booked, on-site? Do you know where they're at, especially in the busy time when things are just flying in left, right, and center? So this is a simplified sales process, okay? So lead gen, so someone inquires. You have an initial contact with them, you do a site visit, and then you present to the client. What I'm trying to demonstrate here is that the idea with a sales process is to collect information at each stage, okay? So when they inquire by phone or by form submission, you should at least get name, email, phone number, address, type of project, and budget range. Initial contact, that's them just inquiring. They phone you or they fill out a form submission. We get that information. Then we talk to them for real. We're like, okay, what's the purpose of your project? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? When do you want this thing to start and finish? Can we even make that happen? Is that realistic? Is this the first time you've worked with a landscape company? If not, why are you talking to me? What's the budget? Again, who's part of the decision-making process? Husband, wife, both, just husband, kids involved, whatever. Now we go to a site visit. We get the project scope. We verify timing. You said before you want to start here and end by then. We verify decision makers. You mentioned this person you're the only decision maker. Is that really true? Is there anybody you bounce this off of? Nobody else? You promise? You're talking to a husband? You're trying to tell me your wife isn't involved? If you work with us and we do a presentation for you, first of all, we're gonna talk about budget. So if you're like, hey, I wanna work with you guys, like, okay, well, let's talk about budget. I can build you a marketing plan for 100K, I can build you a marketing plan for 20K, I can build you a marketing plan for 60K. They're different. I need the parameters to work within, just like you guys. When you're building a backyard, you can do it a million ways. I need some parameters. What's the purpose? What's the goal? What's the budget? Yes or no for paid design? Are we gonna get a paid design? Do you guys charge for your designs? The answer is yes. Everybody's yes. Yes. Thank you. And when you do a presentation to the client, so the cost of the presentation is you gotta do it in person if it's over 10K. We don't email presentations to people. We talk about investment up front. That's what we do, and there's all the reasons why. Paint the picture and then get a definitive next step for a decision. It should be in a calendar with them invited to it. Okay, so everybody's business runs on the same revenue model for the most part. There's some nuances, but for the most part, you all run the same business model. Same with us. It's leads times your conversion rate. So inquiries times your conversion rate. So you get 10 leads, or in this case, 10 leads, 40% conversion rate gets you 4 clients. 4 clients, average sale, let's call it 50K, times 30% gross margin. 30% is not the best. So if you're at 30, it's not the best. We want 35, 40, right? Anyway, average gross margin dollars, 60K, times purchases per year. In this case, we'll say 1. Let's say average lifetime years. Let's say a person hires you twice over the course of their relationship with you. That gives you 120K in gross margin dollars from 10 leads. What's crazy about this model is that if you increase each piece by only 10%, and I'm not talking like 10 to 20%, I'm talking like 10 to 11, right? So from 10 leads to 11 leads. What can you do to increase leads by 10%? You can hire us, you can put a formal referral program in, you can boost posts on social media, you can wrap your trucks, you can put better signs on lawns when you're doing projects. Sales training can get you a better conversion rate. You're doing professional sales training, you're taking Sandler, whatever it might be. You get 5 clients. Now you increase your average sale from 50 to 55. How do you do that? Well, 1, increase your price. 2, increase the floor of the job you're willing to do, meaning the minimum project size goes up. Usually when you do that, your gross margin actually increases, but you could also invest in equipment, make yourself more efficient. That gets you 90 grand in gross margin dollars. Purchases per year, 1.1. You go back with an enhancement, you put a maintenance program in, customer service to have them buy from you longer years or more than twice. 10% increase on each of these parts of your revenue model is an 83% increase in gross margin. These are minor tweaks. This is not insurmountable. We recommend people to look at each one of these variables and focus on it for a quarter at a time. Leads for a quarter, sales for a quarter, average, and so on and so forth. In a year and a half, you've increased everything by 10%. Same crew, same business, increased efficiency, 83% gross margin dollars. That's contribution money for your profit. Here's some cost per lead expectations if you're in maintenance, pool service, decking, retaining walls, design build, pool construction. When done properly, using a company like us, you can find yourself getting good leads for those types of dollars. We usually find it's somewhere between 3 to 4 leads to 1 quotable lead. So to get like a design build job for, let's say, 80 grand, you're looking at somewhere around $1,400 to spend to get an $80,000 project. These are some of the examples of companies we've done this with. The goals are the ones that we set out to do at the beginning of the year. The actuals are what actually happened. We didn't put names in here, but you can see they're pretty darn close. And they're in line with what we were just showing you in terms of benchmarks. We aggregate all the results of all of our different landscape companies so we can see this information and share it with you. Your website should convert 3% of visitors, 3 out of 100. If it's not, you can go talk to the people that built it, ask them what the conversion rate is. It should be 3% or better. We're not perfect. Here's a bunch that are above 3, close to 3, under 3. Where do we spend our time? These ones. Just letting you know that you can now create this accountability with somebody you're working with. What's my conversion rate of my website? Meaning how many people convert out of 100 visitors? It should be 3 or better. Best keywords in 2024. If you want design build, landscape contractor, you can either build content around it to rank for it organically. You can label yourself in your Google business profile, or you can do a Google Ads campaign for it. Landscaper near me, we find turns more into property maintenance customers. And the marketing budget, people always ask us, but we say 2 to 5%. 2% maintain, 5% aggressive growth. In between. If you want to start a conversation with us, there's a QR code. You can book a call. We're also here. I'm done.